Shabbat Shalom, SVIVAH. This week we start the book of Exodus, the book of Shemot, with Parshat Shemot. And there are so many special people in this week's Parsha, particularly a number of very special women. So we have Yocheved, the mother of Moshe, who puts him in the basket in the river in order to save his life. We have Miriam, Moshe's sister, who watches over him from the bulrushes and tries to help him from the side. And we even have Moshe's wife, Zipporah, who we see shepherding with her family members, with her sisters, and facing challenges that they find a way to overcome. And we have Pharaoh, the daughter of Pharaoh, who's called Batya or Batya in the rabbinic literature. And this week it's her story that's really speaking to me and that I wanted to share with you. So Pharaoh comes into the scene when Moshe is in the basket in the water. And she sees this baby, which she doesn't yet know is a baby. She just sees this basket. And she has one of her servants bring it over to her. And then there's this verse that describes what happens when she opens the basket. So it's in chapter 2, it's verse 6, and it says, "Vatiftach vatir'ehu et hayeled." She opens it and she sees him. She sees this boy. And he starts to cry. And she takes pity on him. And then she says, "Miyeled ha'ivrim zeh." This must be a Hebrew boy. When I thought about the story before this week, I always thought about this as she sees a basket, she knows there's a baby, and she assumes, of course, it must be a Hebrew baby, because why else would anyone put their baby in the water? It must be one of the Hebrew women who are trying to evade the decree of Pharaoh, who said that all the baby boys have to be thrown in the Nile. What other woman would ever put her baby in the water? But here, actually, I read this week that the Orach Chaim, one of the medieval commentaries, says that it's not clear that she knew that he was a Hebrew child. In fact, she probably opened it, maybe knew there was a baby, maybe not, and thought it was an Egyptian child because she says at the end, "Oh, this is a Hebrew child." And he reads it as there being surprise in her voice, that she didn't realize at first that that's who this was. And if that's the case, then I find this moment truly incredible, because I picture her standing by the water and she has 3 seconds to make a decision. Because as soon as she opens it, he starts to cry. Someone's going to come and they're going to find her holding a basket with a Hebrew child, violating directly her father's orders. And so in that moment, when she realizes it's a Hebrew child, it would have been understandable for her to put the baby back in and send him back into the water and just leave it be and walk away. Or she could have done something worse, right? And she could have brought the baby to her father and been this obedient daughter who said, look who I found in the water. But instead she does neither of those things. Instead she decides to take him under her care, to raise him in the palace, and to literally risk her life every single day to ensure that he survives. And for this, the rabbis in the Talmud, in Tractate Megillah, to say that she merited to marry a husband whose name was Mered, or at least that was his nickname. And the word Mered, the shoresh, the root of that word, it is rebel, or rebellion. And it says that she married somebody whose nickname was Rebellion because she was a rebel, as she rebelled against her father. And when I read that, it took me a minute to digest it, because when I think of rebel, she's not what comes to mind, somebody who saves this baby from the water, right? I picture somebody standing on the streets, going against their government, protesting with a microphone and people following them and slogans and all this tension that they're trying to fight against what's going on in their land. And she's just not what comes to mind. And reading this made me rethink, what does it actually mean to be a rebel? Is Pharaoh modeling for us a different type of rebel? Of somebody who looks at a situation and just says, this is wrong. She just knows in her heart, it's not okay to throw these babies in the water, right? Of course what her father's doing is wrong, but she allows that realization to resonate. She allows it to come up in her heart. She doesn't just squash it because of her fear or because of her feelings of obedience. She notices and she does something about it. And the way that she rebels is this quiet, behind the scenes way. It's her own way. It's not this public way. It's something that can offer another pathway towards being a rebel. I would almost call it a compassionate rebel. And so for this Shabbat, I was wondering if we could think about together, are there ways in our own lives where we are kind of this rebel like Pharaoh, where we look at things and we say, this just isn't right. I know this isn't right. It could be that everyone else thinks it is, but like for me, I just know it's not. And that we find something to do about it, and it doesn't have to be something big. It doesn't have to be something loud. It doesn't have to be something public. It's just something that we know in our heart. We're staying true to ourselves in whatever situation we're in. So I invite you to spend some time thinking about that this Shabbat. See if there's a situation that comes up for you where you feel like you have this Pharaoh spirit within you. Or maybe you see a situation that you haven't done anything that feels rebellious yet, but you would like to, and you would like to kind of connect with Pharaoh's energy and take a step forward. So think about that. If anything comes to mind that you'd like to share with me, please feel free to PM me or email me. I'd love to hear what resonates and what comes up for you. So feel free to reach out. And for Shabbat, we're going to share some music. So this is kind of cool. There's actually a band called Pharaoh's Daughters, because the lead singer, the creator of the band's name is Batya. Batya is another way to pronounce Batya, the midrashic name of the daughter of Pharaoh. So she called her band Pharaoh's Daughters, and they have a Shabbat song, Lechadodi. So we're going to share that with you in honor of Pharaoh, and wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom.